Hello and welcome back. This is Penny Santaberry and Amy Cornell, and this is the Minisode of the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. And I'm going to turn this over to Amy because this was actually her idea. What the book review process says about you. Amy, would you like to tell us the origin story of this podcast?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're just spilling the tea and we're like, okay, so something weird happened and we're going to turn it into a podcast episode to talk about it.
I know.
And it's kind of true, but it does have a broader application to more people, maybe on a less extreme version. But essentially, we got a series of pretty nasty emails from an author who just slammed us for apparently giving them I think it was like a 3-star review. It wasn't even an awful review, to be totally honest, but it was not a 5-star review. And she thought it was us and she demanded we take it down. It was just, again, a series of emails, and she sent 3, I think it was 3 in a row before I finally responded because I was like, I cannot right now. And so essentially it was as simple as she thought we were the company that posted the review, or the group. It was a Facebook group, I think, actually, a reader Facebook group. And it wasn't even anything like our company name. So this person just essentially saw a less than favorable review and lost their ever-loving mind and immediately got on their email and started shooting off all this craziness into our inbox. And granted, this is an extreme example, but it did kind of spark this idea that, reviews are tough. Like, we get that. Penny has written, I think, like 1,000 books by now. I'm losing count, but
oh my God.
So when we do like this, I hope I like to remind people that Penny is an author and she deals with reviews and she deals with her like book marketing, and all these things that we talk about are very much real in the day-to-day of what goes on at AME as well. And so we just want to remind everybody that we know that it's hard, but at the same time, how you use your reviews and what you do with that information and the next steps you take really do say a lot about your potential success in this business.
Yes.
And your ability to grow in this business. We have an author that we've worked with on multiple titles, and she sent us an amazing email recently that gave us a little insight into her review process and what she takes from that. And it was really fabulous. She even mentioned things like she pays very close attention to her international reviews as well, because she said she can learn a lot about what parts of the world, what cultures, things like that, how they respond to her work, and elements of what she likes to focus on that they resonate with, things that are confusing to them. Anyway, she is on the other end of the spectrum of our original example for doing this. But it just goes to show that, reviews can be hard, but at the same time, they can actually give you a lot of really useful information if you choose to, internalize them in a positive way and find a silver lining, even in the ones that aren't really stellar.
Well, I think that's really, and there was a story, and I don't know if this was how long ago this was, but there was a story about an author who got reviewed on a blog post, and it was a blogger review, and it was not a great review. And she wrote like 300 comments, because I remember this happened when I was at a writer's conference. And it was it was disturbing, but it was also kind of funny, actually. But I think that aside from, and literally like she wrote 300 comments to this blogger. I mean, it was insane. And the problem with that is, and not that any of you listening are going to do that, but the problem with that is that this person is never going to get her book reviewed anywhere, right? Ever again. I don't care who she is, because bloggers talk to bloggers and influencers talk to influencers. But the idea really is that we see a lot of authors that get stuck on a bad review. They get hung up on a bad review. And this happens when I talk to authors on the phone and I talk to them about their book, and I'll look at their book on Amazon. And sometimes the first thing they'll say is, ignore the bad review. I got a bad review, and they'll talk about that. And that is what they hang their star on and move on. I get that it's really hard, because I had somebody had her sell books by the truckload on Amazon, and they thought it was a book about I don't know, like publishing your book, like how to publish your book or something. It's
I
like,
remember that. Yeah. There was no information on how to get my book on Amazon in this.
like literally there's right. And, it was the craziest thing. And I got mad and I was like, thanks for bringing my star rating down. But there's literally nothing, and you can spend a ton of energy on that. And so yeah, don't write us when you get a negative review, but also moreover, don't get hung up on bad reviews, because they're going to, if you get a lot of them, then maybe there's a problem, but not everybody's going to like your stuff. And that's okay, because your book is not right for every reader. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Penny Sansevieri and Amy Cornell, and this is the Minisode of the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. Bye-bye.